Even though they had just met, the young girl fell passionately in love and believed her boyfriend's lies. Despite noticing many suspicious signs, her passion blinded her to everything. Then, just 2 months after the wedding, she tragically left this world. The one responsible was none other than the husband she trusted. The reason behind her death leaves everyone extremely confused. Cynthia Cindy Monkman was born on September 16, 1958, in Pensacola, Florida, USA. After Cindy's mother passed away from cancer, her family moved to Champaign, Illinois. In 1982, Cindy earned a master's degree in public health education. She then moved to Minneapolis to work as an instructor for a healthcare program. Later, she moved to Arizona because she felt it was right for her. In 1986, having moved back from Minneapolis, she began dating a man named Mark. Mark, a night DJ at a club quite famous in the area, became too much for Cindy. In addition, Cindy also knew that Mark's previous girlfriend had been murdered and the case was never solved. After about a year of dating, Mark and Cindy broke up. Though their love for each other lingered, they remained friends. The breakup was particularly difficult for Cindy. Her older sister, Kathy, noticed a dramatic change in her after the split. While Cindy put on a brave face, Kathy saw through the facade. In October 1988, Cindy met a new man named Michael Apelt. Cindy and her sister were invited out and met Michael and his brother, Rudy. The Apelt family is from Germany and they seem to be very wealthy. The two said they worked for a high-security unit, came here for work, and stayed at the Holiday Inn Hotel in Mesa. Cindy grows suspicious of Michael after their visit. He didn't invite her to his hotel room, opting instead to hang out in the hallway. This prompts Cindy and her friends to follow Michael and Rudy, where they discover the brothers leaving the hotel through another door and heading to a budget motel. Cindy somehow convinced the receptionist to give her Michael's room key. Knocking on the door, Cindy was met by a woman with a German accent. The Apelt brothers were absent, but their clothes and jewelry were left behind. On the next day, Cindy confronts Michael at the motel. Michael explains that the woman staying with them is named Ank Dorn, and they lost their jobs due to her spying. Michael and Rudy also said they could not access their accounts. It was later revealed that Ank was actually one of Michael's exes. It was obvious that Cindy was infatuated with Michael. Such a blatant lie, but she still believed it. Michael told Cindy he wanted to marry her, and of course, Cindy agreed. On October 28, 1988, the two married in a secret ceremony in Las Vegas after not knowing each other for long. In December 1988, Cindy told her sister and family. Kathy said she tried to accept Michael because she believed the old Cindy had returned. However, they were unaware that tragedy had struck soon after. After their quick wedding, Kathy and Cindy made plans to visit home in Illinois for the holidays, departing on December 24th. On December 21st, Kathy learned that Cindy was talking to her ex-boyfriend Mark again. Cindy confided in her sister that she didn't realize she still had feelings for him. On December 23rd, Cindy left for vacation with friends. Kathy called Cindy to finalize their plans for visiting home the next day, but there was no answer. Kathy left a few messages for her. Later, Cindy's friends informed Kathy that Cindy hadn't arrived as planned. At 1:30 a.m., Michael contacted his sister-in-law. When Kathy asked where Cindy was, Michael announced his wife had left with another man. Hearing this, Kathy thought perhaps her sister had run away with Mark and gone partying somewhere. Kathy flew home to Illinois alone that morning. On December 24, 1988, she reported Cindy missing to the police. From the beginning, the police took this case very seriously. On December 24th, at around 8:45 a.m., Detective Ron Davis arrived at the house to speak with Michael. After several knocks, Michael finally answered the door. To Michael's surprise, Ron greeted him in German before introducing himself. Michael told the police the same story he'd shared with Kathy. Cindy had left with some man after receiving a phone call. He claimed to have been at a restaurant for dinner with his brother, even presenting a receipt as proof. Cindy, however, was supposed to visit them that day but never arrived. In the living room, police found a life insurance policy for Cindy worth $400,000. However, the policy stipulated that the payout would double if her death were accidental. Additionally, the terms included a separate accidental death benefit of $100,000. While driving through a mountain range on December 24th at 2 p.m., a man and his son discovered a woman's body on the side of the road. The victim was quickly identified as Cindy. Cindy's death was devastating. She had been stabbed 3 times in the back, one wound fatal. The victim also had a wound on the neck and a shoe print on the forehead. Kathy was utterly heartbroken to see her sister in this state. At the crime scene, authorities found a shoe print and a tire impression. This discovery led them to investigate Mark, Cindy's ex-boyfriend, as the prime suspect. Kathy shared these suspicions, believing Mark was the only one who could have influenced Cindy to leave abruptly. Notably, Mark also left Cindy a message on December 24th, saying he had seen the news reports about her disappearance. This raised suspicion, as she had vanished that very day. One of the detectives traveled to Los Angeles to question Mark. An alibi emerged during the interview. Cindy hadn't been with him at the time of the murder. This man rented a car, intending to drive back to his mother and sister in Palm Springs. However, he was nowhere near Arizona at the time of the murder, eliminating him as a suspect. The police turned back to Michael Apelt, the victim's newlywed husband, and his brother, Rudy Apelt. On January 3, 1989, Michael contacted the police saying he had received a threatening voice message and provided it to detectives. In the message, this person admitted that their group had stabbed Cindy. They then told Michael that they and their brother would be the next victims. The detective is suspicious about the call and learns that it was translated from German to English. A surveillance team is assigned to monitor Michael and Rudy. Michael then contacted the detective again, saying two men had come to his house demanding money and drugs. Michael agrees to go to the police station to help create a composite sketch. According to Michael's description, the men were black and wearing suits and sunglasses. Ank Dorn, Michael's ex, also arrived at the police station with the Apelt brothers and appeared clearly uncomfortable about something. Ank was shown photos of Cindy and the crime scene, which finally led her to tell the truth. Ank agreed to tell everything. She said that Michael appeared at the motel where she and Rudy were staying on December 23rd. Then, they drove away to the mountains. Ank also affirmed that, at that time, she did not know Cindy was also in the car. Ank testified that Michael then waited in the car. She knew that Michael and Rudy had killed Cindy when they returned with bloody clothes. All three of them went back to the motel, threw away their bloody clothes, and went out to dinner to create an alibi. Michael became paranoid about tire tracks and any other evidence they might have left at the scene, Ank said. Because of this paranoia, Michael drove to the mountains to destroy the tire tracks. Ank's story matched what the car rental place told the police about having to change the tire after Michael returned the car. Ank, Michael, and Rudy went to Los Angeles and paid a homeless person $20 to read threatening messages. Ank wrote this message in English after Michael had created it in German. According to Ank, these things are all part of Michael and Rudy's fraud plan. Through investigation, the police discovered that Michael Apelt and his brother Rudy Apelt were both German citizens. The brothers went to San Diego, California, in August 1988 with Rudy's wife, Suzanne, and Michael's ex-lover, Ank Dorn. Michael and Rudy used sweet words and fabricated stories of wealth and success to deceive women for money and other assistance. On October 8th, Michael and Rudy met Cindy and her sister, Kathy, at a local bar and restaurant. The two men claimed to be computer and banking experts. Michael developed immediate feelings for Cindy. Finally, Michael moved in with Cindy. Less than a month later, they secretly married. At Michael's insistence, the 30-year-old woman signed 2 insurance policies worth $400,000. She believed Michael's lies about his wealth and that taking out these policies was a common investment custom for married couples in Germany. She wrote a check to pay the first month's premium of her first insurance policy on November 7, 1988. In the following weeks, brothers Michael and Ank went on a shopping spree, buying watches and even cars. On December 22, 1988, the Apelt brothers' evil plan kicked into high gear when the life insurance policy documents arrived in the mail. Cindy planned a farewell dinner with friends at 8 p.m. on December 23rd. She intended to exchange Christmas gifts before leaving to visit her sister in Illinois. Tragically, these plans were cut short when she was brutally murdered by her newlywed husband. After Cindy's body was discovered on December 24, 1988, Michael, Rudy, and Ank flew to Illinois for the funeral on December 31 before leaving on January 2, 1989. At that time, the police discovered everything and followed all three. Michael and Rudy were arrested and charged with murder. In addition, police discovered a video showing Michael wearing shoes with a brand that matched the type of shoe prints found on Cindy's head and at the crime scene. Ank was offered immunity from prosecution. She agreed to testify at both trials. Michael Apelt was convicted of first-degree murder. On August 10, 1990, he was sentenced to death. Rudy Apelt was also convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death like his younger brother. However, his sentence was later changed after the judge found him mentally incompetent. Rudy ultimately received a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 25 years. In 2017, when he became eligible for parole, his application was denied. Rudy died in prison on April 26, 2022.